With the NFL playoffs in full swing, the teams who remain have one goal in mind: to etch their names in the history books and take home the Lombardi Trophy. Before the top prize in the National Football League is handed out, however, there will be an epic musical performance at halftime of the big game. But it wasn't always that way. I'm Think So Joe, this is Things You Might Not Know, and today I'll tell you how a sketch comedy show caused the NFL to step up its halftime game. It's arguably the biggest night in American sports. The night that, after 18 grueling weeks of a regular season and 3 weeks of playoffs, the top teams of the AFC and NFC face off in the NFL's championship game, the Super Bowl. However, aside from determining the world champions of a league that features teams exclusively based in American cities and is made up of 97% US-born players, it's also one of the biggest stages for the music industry. Recent years have featured artists such as Beyonce, Bruno Mars, Coldplay, Lady Gaga, and The Weeknd in immaculately choreographed performances that tend to take advantage of the large amount of space an NFL stadium affords them. Our younger viewers would be forgiven for thinking it has always been this way, but prior to the late Michael Jackson's performance at Super Bowl 27 in 1993, things looked quite a bit different. Well, there had always been some kind of performance at halftime of the NFL's championship game, dating all the way back to the very first Super Bowl in 1967, which featured performances from the marching bands at the University of Arizona and Grambling State University, as well as trumpeter Al Hirt and the drill team and flag girls from Anaheim High School. Major recording artists were never the sole focal point. On January 26, 1992, CBS broadcasted Super Bowl 26 between the Buffalo Bills and the Washington football team. And yes, I know they had a different name back then, but that doesn't make it any less problematic or worth mentioning here. At the half, Gloria Estefan shared the spotlight with a salute to the 1992 Winter Olympics, which also featured figure skaters Brian Boitano and Dorothy Hamill, members of the 1980 U.S. Hockey Miracle on Ice team, and the University of Minnesota Marching Band. Meanwhile, Fox, who would not secure rights to NFL games until the 1994 season, presented alternative programming in the form of their Emmy Award-winning sketch comedy show In Living Color, going live to air and head-to-head with the Estefan-led Super Bowl halftime show. Titled In Living Color's Super Bowl Halftime Party, 22 million viewers made the switch to the fledgling network's counterprogramming. The show, which launched the careers of names such as the Wayans brothers, Jamie Foxx, and Jim Carrey, presented some of its most popular segments, including Men On, the Homeboy Shopping Network, and Carrey's Fire Marshal Bill, as well as its own musical performance in the form of Color Me Badd, performing their hit song I Wanna Sex You Up. A bonus thing you might not know for you: Fire Marshal Bill has a brief blink-and-you-miss-it cameo in Carrey's 1997 film Liar Liar. The NFL certainly noticed 22% of viewers changing the channel, and starting in 1993, where the Buffalo Bills took on the Dallas Cowboys in Super Bowl 27, the NFL made it a point to make the halftime show a can't-miss affair. Radio City Productions, the producer of the halftime show, made several attempts to get the King of Pop himself to perform. Jackson's management originally wanted $1 million for the pop superstar's services. Eventually, Jackson agreed to perform for a $100,000 donation from the NFL and sponsor Frito-Lay to his Heal the World Foundation and airtime for an ad for the charity's Heal LA campaign. The performance was a huge success for both the NFL and Jackson. Not only did viewers stay tuned to NBC at the half, despite the lopsided score of 28-10 in favor of the Cowboys, who would go on to win the game by a score of 52-17, in fact, more viewers would tune in to see the halftime show, this marking the first time this happened in the history of the league's championship game. Jackson's album Dangerous also saw an 83% increase in sales, moving 21,000 units in the US the week following the performance. From that point on, major musical acts took center stage at the Super Bowl, with less of a focus, if any, on marching bands or other traditional halftime staples. Gloria Estefan herself was even able to return to the halftime show in 1999 as the NFL presented a celebration of soul, salsa, and swing that also featured Stevie Wonder and Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. The halftime show continues to be a proven ratings draw, as the most watched halftime show on broadcast television was Katy Perry's 2015 performance, while Jennifer Lopez and Shakira's 2020 production can lay claim to the most viewed Super Bowl halftime show on YouTube. Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching Things You Might Not Know. If you enjoyed today's video, please leave a like and a comment down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell icon so you get notified every time I post a new video. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and you can see a playlist of Things You Might Not Know videos over there. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time!